welcome this evening. My name is Jake Dalton, and I teach Tibetan Buddhism here. And I'm very honored and excited to introduce to you tonight Zongsar Jamyang Khyentse Rinpoche. Over the past 2 centuries, the Khyentse lineage has been one of Tibetan Buddhism's most influential lines of reincarnated teachers. Rinpoche's previous incarnations were particularly renowned for their mastery of all 4 schools of Tibetan Buddhism, and today Rinpoche continues this rich tradition. Rinpoche was born in the Himalayan country of Bhutan in 1961. At the age of 7, he was recognized as the main incarnation of the Khyentse lineage. He received an extensive training under some of the greatest contemporary masters of Tibetan Buddhism, and today he supervises his traditional seat of Zongsar Monastery in eastern Tibet and its retreat centers, as well as his new monastic colleges in India and Bhutan, and centers in Australia, North America, and the Far East. But what makes Rinpoche still more exciting are the creative ways in which he's contributed to the spread of Buddhism in the West. After his traditional training in India, he attended London School of Oriental and African Studies, and he continues to be involved in shaping the academic study of Buddhism in the West, most recently by endowing a new chair in Tibetan Studies at UC Berkeley. Before finishing his master's degree in London, however, he became involved with the Italian filmmaker Bernardo Bertolucci. While serving as an advisor to Bertolucci during the filming of Little Buddha, Rinpoche became increasingly interested in the process of filmmaking. And eventually, under the pseudonym Khyentse Norbu, he gained renown as a filmmaker in his own right, directing 2 major movies, the award-winning The Cup from 1999 and Travelers and Magicians in 2003. So tonight we have the pleasure of hearing Rinpoche talk about these 2 sides of his life, his work as a Buddhist teacher and as a filmmaker. The title of tonight's event is Projecting the Dharma, Film and the Transmission of Buddhism to the West. So we'll begin with a talk by Rinpoche, and then we were thinking we would have a sort of discussion period that will be moderated by Professor Robert Scharf from UC Berkeley, who runs the Buddhist Studies program there. So I guess for that, Rinpoche.
So such a big honor for me to be here. I understand that this is one of the greatest learning centers in the world. And one of the greatest Tibetan scholar, Sakya Pandita, said, one must learn even if you are certain that you will die tomorrow. So I come from a tradition that gives a lot of emphasis in learning. I also understand that this place, this particular town or university has produced many interesting people in the past. And I hope this will continue like that. I have to... The title... The Projecting the Dharma, Projecting the Dharma. Film and the Transmission of Buddhism to the West. Now this is, I think, quite broad, as you can see. Projecting the Dharma. Now there is something that we can discuss. 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 There is something that we I remember my first visit to the West, first Europe and then America. I think my first ever sight of America was Maine, and then to San Francisco, New York also. I was quite young, so I don't remember so much, but I met many interesting people like Allen Ginsberg, for instance. I was totally new with the West, but from the conversation that we had, my English was very bad at that time, not so much improved still, but from the way from the conversation we had, the projection of the Dharma at that time was so much to do with hippie, LSD, Woodstock. I don't know what those are at that time. Poetry, hallucinogenic, and stuff like that. And also, this Carlos Castaneda, all of that. So that was the projection at that time. And then I came to America again, and during that time the projection was slightly changed. Especially when I walk around in my robes. Maybe it was a particular town or a place, but that time Tibetan Buddhism, Rajneesh, tantric sex, all of those. So different kinds of projection seems to be happening. And then of course, again I came many times, and I must say I'm quite happy and I'm actually quite proud that over the time the analytical and critical sort of intellectual approach to Buddhism seems to be paying off. So then I begin to sort of have some sort of a serious dialogue with a lot of people, and like debate, argument, middle way, existentialism, Buddhism. So that's the projection that I've seen. Now, this is still growing, but somehow the world seems to be moving quite fast. So I was talking to Professor Shaft just today. Suddenly, I think the projection about Buddhism in the West seems to do with peace, path to the happiness, and stuff like that. That seems to be the projection. I don't know whether I should be happy about it, because certainly when you are labeled as a believer of a system that makes you happy and that makes you peaceful, you should think that you have been given a credit or some kind of a good thing, compliment. But because I know a little bit about Buddhist philosophy, when I think about the richness and the depth and the profoundness of Buddhism, and it's sort of coming from the argumentative Indian thinking, if Buddhism is narrowed down to just a path to happiness, maybe then this may become a kind of unfortunate obstacle for West to understand more of its richness and profound messages or whatever. Of course, I don't want to be too critical. In Mahayana Buddhism, we believe in skillful means, act of compassion. Out of skillful means, you can use the words such as, journey to happiness, path to the happiness, solution to the happiness, and also somehow, I don't know, somehow I feel that at the moment, everywhere, especially in the West, there is a sort of a quest for looking for decoding some kind of a secret. This, I see this big, bestseller book called Secret, The Secret, something like that, The Secret. I thought maybe I can learn something out of this, so I actually bought it. I even bought the movie. I must honestly tell you, I was a little bit disappointed. Of course, I tell myself, this alone is a proof that there is something called karma. We must be heavily karmically debted with the author of the book such as The Secret. Because I think it's a little disappointing. But Vajrayana, Tantric Buddhism could get categorized into that kind of department. So we have to be careful here. Again, path to the happiness could be a marketing strategy for Buddhist missionaries. And this is, I could close one eye and accept that. But just to let you know that these are the projection, projecting the Dharma, right? This is some of the projections that I have been going through. I have noticed, I have observed. As Jack was mentioning, I went to university in England. By the way, I never finished my master's because I got carried away by a film. So, dropout I was. At that time, all my teachers, actually I took comparative religion, psychology and all that. So I actually went to Buddhist class also. So most of my Buddhist teachers, they were definitely, they were not supposed to be a practicing Buddhist. And some of them are, I think, not even, maybe Christian or, follower of other faith. And then I have learned later that this is very much emphasized in the West to be objective. In fact, the reason why there is no properly trained Buddhist scholars, like a Khenpo teaching a Western university, is because Khenpos, Rinpoches like myself, we are deemed as a converter, so we are not qualified, not so much to do with the qualified, but too subjective. So at that time when I was studying, I had a lot of mixed feelings. Why are these people teaching Buddhism? Why can't they find someone else better? Even I could do this better. This is how I used to think. But I must say, after many years, I've changed my mind. And in fact, this afternoon, I had really profound discussions with many young professors here, that in fact, this is, I think, the strength of the approach to Buddhism in the West.